So, yeah,
All right, I believe we're live.
pretty cool. Oh, are we?
Oh, yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Woohoo! I'm sorry, I always feel like Amy
Surprise.
Newman when I do that.
Oh, Nitty.
Surprise
Yeah.
live.
Nitty has two moms, and I've always wanted to kind of hear his story. Woo! All right. That's what I love about YouTube. You can't mute the stream until the stream is live, and I don't know why it does that.
Huh. It's interesting.
But yeah, I don't. Oh, Bree! Hey,
Well, hello.
Hello. Hi, hi.
I'm trying to get Bree to buy this adorable top.
Oh, yeah, I probably will. It's a t-shirt kind of night for me. A t-shirt, pizza. I'm just being a slob.
Yeah, she
Now,
can. I don't
now
know.
you all know
She
what
kind of
our
reminds
agenda
me of my
is to
mom.
go
My mom
shopping.
was the same way. She was like, my shoulders are too broad, and then she cut all of her shoulder pads out of her shirts, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh man, during the '80s, shoulder pads were the thing, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But she was just like, no, like my shoulders are fucking broad enough, and I'm like, all right. I don't know what to say to that except I think you're fucking gorgeous, and
mhm,
if you like the top rocket,
yeah. I do like showing off my shoulders. They're one of my assets, I think.
awesome. Thank you.
I didn't bring them tonight. Sorry, because I can roll my sleeves back.
So hi everybody. How's everybody? Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, day two.
Day two. Yeah, I yeah. It's just Thursday's a horrible days to stream, and I'm like, it's still the beginning of the month. Not hopefully not stepping on anybody's toes. I know Bree's gonna have to get out of here in an hour to do a premiere, and if anybody wants to leave to hang with Bree, I'm not gonna hate you for it because she's a fucking awesome streamer who just got monetized. Way to go, girl!
Congrats.
Yeah, that was my accomplishment for the year, I guess. Hit the ground running this year. I've had a lot of luck with my channel here lately. I got to be the first person to interview Professor Dave after his debate with Frank Tour, or not Frank Tour, James Tour. I don't know
James
who
Tour.
Frank Tour.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, that
yeah.
was a fucking train wreck.
A dumpster fire, right?
I I don't know why he wanted to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of clear that Dave went into it with the intentions of, you know what, I'm going to destroy.
Oh, right, right. I'm gonna destroy the atheist because
Yeah,
as you do.
but yeah, yeah, it was fun. And regardless, I had fun doing the interview and stuff. Had Aaron on, and it was a good time. What have you been up to, Beck? I haven't seen you in a while. You're gonna have to use sign language or unmute, one or the other.
I can't find the unmute button while I'm laughing. All right, let me try that again. I said I've been hiding from the world, is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know.
I mean, in fairness, fuck the world.
Yeah, I mean, just fuck all of it. Seriously,
Yeah.
I am literally getting to the point very early on in life that I just don't give a fuck anymore, because me giving a fuck only hurts me and it doesn't hurt anybody else. So I have to stop fucking caring. That's my only option, because nobody else gives a fuck enough to be considerate of me. So I gotta take care of me. So I just fucking hate most of the world. That's what I do now. I literally drive around like this with my finger on my holding with my arm out the window. I just flip off the
Flipping off the
world while I'm
world.
driving. Yep, all the
Yeah.
time I do it. Don't care anymore. I'm gonna get some shirts that say I have PTSD and body dysphoria. Just don't. Like, just don't fuck with me. Everything's bad.
You're in a good state for that.
I
Not
really am, though.
everyone can.
Very
Yeah.
lucky. I really am.
Yeah.
Thanks
It's
to my
getting-
brother, really.
It's getting rough out there for people like us.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm in a really good place for that, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
am too.
kinda-
I'm like on an island.
Yeah. I mean, I know that. I mean, from other stories I've heard, Beck and Brave had. Um, I would say supportive. Just because it. I don't know. From what I've heard, it hasn't been insanely unsupportive coming out. Outside
like
of the
the
divorce.
well, yeah, the community, like the local community, people are either in one or two camps. They either don't give a shit and just don't care at all, or they're really nice and supportive. I'm not saying there's not people with nasty ideas out there, but the only people that ever said anything is people that wouldn't say it to my face. It's like drive by and scream something or something stupid like that. But yeah, they wouldn't stop and like confront me on the sidewalk and
Well, no. Bullies can't do that.
you know,
They have to have more of them. Then they do it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I always got my phone ready, and I have my pepper spray too. I just
I don't blame
Well,
you.
I mean, yeah, that's a girl
No.
thing.
That is totally
Mm-hmm.
a girl thing. I just have my bad attitude in my fists. I'm good. There's
Yeah,
pretty much
no.
nobody that's... I don't even care. Like, people are like, what if somebody has a gun? I'm like,
this is not gonna
So?
do much. This
No,
little fish.
fuck with Beck. I dare you.
I just don't care. I literally... It's kind of horrible, but it's kind of nice at the same time. Because I'm finally getting a relief from all the stress I've had, you know? I just can't care about other people. It stresses me out.
Well, Beck, you've had a really good year. Didn't you have free top surgery?
Oh, no, I know. That's what's kept me sane. I swear to God, if that didn't happen, I don't think I don't know. I was suicidal there for a while, and that really saved me, to be honest. I'm not now, but...
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
But, I mean, no, seriously, congrats.
thank you.
That was, I don't know. I hear people talk about, like, free surgery, and I'm like, wow,
Dude,
mean-
it was so weird. I didn't even... Like, I think some people are mad at me because Medicaid paid, but I didn't plan it, man. It just happened to me.
you know,
And,
I mean,
and my
I
doctor
think
just
people,
approved it, and...
and
so
I think people are
fucking
thinking
took
about it as, like, plastic surgery. You know, and they're like, why
Yeah.
did Medicaid pay for that? And I'm like,
But
no.
it's not plastic surgery.
It's
That's
not.
the thing people don't
Yeah.
understand. My surgeon, I had her do all of it by herself. There was no plastic surgeon involved. I found a surgeon good enough that she doesn't need a plastic surgeon. You don't have to spend that money. So if anybody wants some kind of breast removal surgery, let me know. She does not do implants. She just removes. But if you're a trans guy and you want it done, or if you're non-binary and you want it, if you just want to take them off, let me know. She's fucking amazing, and she'll just do it by herself. She's been doing it for 35 fucking years with
Wow.
plastic surgeons. She knows how to do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Steph's here.
41 years of surgery with my doctor. She's amazing. So, Steph,
Hello.
how come everybody else is square and I'm not? I don't understand.
That's just how you look to you. We all look
yeah.
rectangle to ourselves and square to everybody else on this one.
Oh, okay. I feel good about that then.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah, if you
Hello.
look in the YouTube
Oh, yeah,
stream,
yeah.
you'll see. Yeah,
Hey,
well, I guess
Steph,
you
happy
look at the
Pride
phone
Month.
now.
Right over there. Right over there.
Happy second day.
Yes, yes, indeed. No, I no, I am so happy that you guys all came. And who am I missing? Spackle, did you want to say hi to the stream?
Yeah, I was about ready to go AFK real quick, but yeah, hi stream. I'm your local bisexual. What's up?
Hey, I'm one of those.
I might be. I don't know yet.
Wait,
I
you know,
really might be.
did anybody have a change of attraction when they?
Yes, that's what I'm
Beck-
saying.
I've heard that's
Beck
a thing.
did, yeah. He told me me that the first time he started. He's like, all of a sudden I'm attracted to.
Yeah, but they
To men?
have to be like femi twinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. No, yeah, I just
They're
thought,
kind of not men, but kind of men.
yeah, no, like
Yeah.
back in men. Like, see, like, yeah, I have to. It's like a totally
I
different.
know, Carrie. I'm so fucking lucky. Go ahead.
You like femboys. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah, no,
femboys.
Yeah,
it's
That's
cool.
I mean,
I
I
just I didn't
think I
know, like,
do. I think I do. It's just a
because
power dynamic, I believe.
yeah.
I think that's all it is. I'm
because
not
you
really
liked
attracted
you liked
to
really
them.
feminine women. Well, do you still?
Um, I am really attracted to very feminine women, but they're pains in the ass, and I refuse to date them because I'm not going to take care of them and open like a jar for them every time and open the door because they can't do it by themselves. I like
What?
spoiling my lady, but I need someone who can be independent and not need me when I'm busy. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. I
Like
was like, wait a
doing
minute.
things
Like,
like
Open this
what do you mean you
work
can't
and
open my
stuff.
door?
No, oh no,
Gotcha.
no, no, you don't understand. I love doing that. I totally respect women. I am so chivalrous, it will drive you nuts. You'll tell me to stop.
No,
That's
I
how
require
chivalrous I
it. My
am.
son opens doors for me.
Yeah, good. He should. You should respect a woman. If it wasn't for women, none of us would be here. So respect women. Fuck yeah. Men can jerk off all day and we don't lose babies. We can lose men and all we need is something and we can still make babies with women. Women are necessary. Women raise our kids and fucking teach us right and make people like me because that's what my mom did. And so I respect women. I will always respect women.
Yeah, I wish more people, including some conservative women, felt the same way.
That's
Um,
why trans guys make good boyfriends because
Noted.
we know what it's like to be a woman. That's what it is.
Or at least treated as one, which is
Right.
pros and cons, pros and
Are,
cons.
are you suggesting that I don't?
Huh?
Well, I mean, if a person is attracted to masculinity, I don't think that they would date you, per se. And I think that's what, it's,
Yeah.
for
If
people who are
someone's-
dating men,
if
trans
someone was
men
dating me
know what you're
and they
going
said,
through.
if someone started dating me and I said they're dating me because of my masculinity, I'd be insulted and I'd also question their motivations because
Yeah, I would really question that.
Dating
be
me
like-
because of my masculinity, I'd suck him in the jaw.
Yeah, I really love Brie. Like, she's the only person who's like almost as girly as me. Like, she might be girlier
Yeah.
than me.
except for I think it's the bug thing that people don't realize that I'm girly.
And I think it's a science thing where it's like my own like kind of like what do you call it?
Oh damn,
Childhood.
Weasel.
What do you call it? Childhood stereotypes, like bugs are for boys. But no, we have like a lot of stuff in common. Like I remember we were talking about like different hairstyles, after one stream. And she sends me pictures of dresses and we talk about like how to, do makeup, and I really like, Bree is way cooler than Brian.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
You know
so
what's
Steph-
interesting to me, Maya, is with Bree and Purple never had any issue switching. And a matter of fact, before Purple ever said anything, back when I first met them, I thought they were female. Swear to
Yeah, I had no
God.
idea what
I
Purple
did
was
for
doing
months.
when I met her.
I did for months and months, and then I was like, oh.
Well, because
Yeah.
she never did a face reveal, but it's been weird. Like, I have to remind myself that she's transitioning too, because like I haven't noticed a difference. I mean, she's just who she is, which is beautiful.
Oh
But,
yeah, absolutely. I love who she is. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's probably
just
you
so
and Purple are
open-minded
probably
and
the hardest
kind
too for
and-
me to make that switch, just because, when I met you, it's just like, woo, hot lesbian. And it's really hard to get out of my head. I apologize
saying
for that.
part.
And with
I'm
Purple,
embarrassed, I'll
it's
do
just
that.
like, like normally it's like, okay, with Brie, I look at her, she's a girl. Like it was
Like-
just, it was really seamless.
That's what I'm
To me-
saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Seamless.
But for Purple,
seems that
Purple's
way
still
you
doing
guys-
all the things, and there's nothing prompting me to,
oh
you
yeah.
know.
Okay.
You all think it's seamless. To me, I don't even. I don't. like it's been just a gradual process. Now I still see things in the mirror that you all probably don't even think about. But I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting better, so that's what I'm going to
No,
go with.
yeah. Do you feel like you're getting better? Do you feel better? Do you feel sane?
Yeah. Well, I'm 10 months into the estrogen and all that, and like Steph can tell you, the spironolactone gets you up in the night a lot to go pee, so that's always fun. But at least I don't have to shave so much anymore. So
Yeah,
things are looking
jealous.
better.
Jealous.
Yeah, I actually had a consultation to see how much it would cost to get laser hair removal, and it might be in the budget at some point. So I'll
That's
see
cool.
what the future holds. You know.
Rock on.
Are we going to be going on the air, or are we already?
We
We're
are
on
on
air.
the air.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
we have been
We're talking about our
since
business
before
on air.
Steph got here.
Nobody mentioned that.
I
I'm
want a
sorry.
laser
I thought
removal
I.
too.
Oh,
Like,
you know what? I
I
think
hate
You
body
did.
hair.
You did.
I did, but I think you may have been getting your avatar, so I apologize. You may not have heard.
Do I still have my
Okay, well,
avatar? I don't even remember.
I was just being quiet because I
Sorry,
didn't think there was anything to
Jenny.
talk about.
Oh no, yeah. So it's Pride Month. I don't, and I was okay. So I'm an HR director, and I'm just like it. So we have Pride Month, and we have Juneteenth. We don't have a lot of people who are out and proud, but like I don't know. Probably 60% of the staff is black. So, like, I have to actively do, like, there are things that people are giving me ideas for Juneteenth. But I'm thinking for Pride Month, I feel like it would be a disservice just to let it gloss over. Um, can you guys think of, like, things that maybe you've done at other jobs or, like, would appreciate?
Oh, for Pride Month?
Yeah, like, or how do you celebrate? What do you do?
I think in a business, this is just my opinion, and everybody can blow it out of the water. I'll say it real
Hmm.
quick if you don't like it. I think, in my opinion, it would be for a professional level to keep it professional, but to recognize it. I would put out more literature around the business,
Hmm.
so more people become aware.
Yeah.
I think that's one way to do it, a quiet way to do it.
Right, right. I mean, we're not, I don't know, whatever Republicans think pride rallies are, we're not trying to do anything like that. It's everybody's
Yeah.
going to keep their shirts on. We're not inviting any kids.
I am actually going to a Pride prom that's going to be kid friendly on the 17th.
Pride
It'll be really
prom.
Oh,
fun.
that's cool.
That sounds really
Prom.
fun.
Yeah, it'll be the first time I've ever been. It's in we have like this old timey theater called the Washington Theater that they're gonna have it in. They're gonna be like a drag show performances and they get kid friendly stuff. I want to stress that again. So I'll be there. I'll take lots of pictures and videos and stuff. It'll be a good time. So watch
Okay,
out
so
for
wait,
that. Yeah.
I didn't stream for one weekend. Like, what happened?
Apparently, Bree got engaged to Dr.
Engaged?
Tapioca Weasel.
Yeah,
I missed the whole thing.
I'm saying.
Was that missed? Did you guys miss that?
It was a 6 minute. I'm about 6
Kinda
minutes behind,
jealous.
but
I
I'm
was-
just like, yeah.
I've been pining
Bree,
after
grab
Bree
yourself
for
a
a
hot
long
doctor over
time.
the weekend. Like, what the hell?
I know, and I can't even compete with them. All I have is this right now. I shaved off everything else. I can't even compete with Weasel, so
Yeah, Weasel has that.
good
that
luck to you, man.
beard. Yeah.
So I'll just have to find someone else to pine after.
We're gonna have to get you like a dapper outfit. Like a vest goes a long way. If you do the vest
Right.
right.
You said being
There's
dressed
something
right goes-
about three weasels. In
I
a
am
trench
dressed up.
coat
What are you
that's
talking
just-
about? I have sleeves. This is dressed up for me. Sometimes
yeah,
I
you
put
got
on a
Skylar
shirt with
Fiction
a
in your
collar.
side chat. Did you know that?
Wait, what? Skylar?
Oh yeah,
I know
Isn't it like
Skylar
past his
from the
bedtime?
olden days. Hi, Skylar.
I like pie and all of you. He said.
Hey,
We
I
like
have no
you
idea how to
too.
get hold of Skylar anymore.
Skylar joined
Mr.
my
Skylar.
Discord. I sent you an invite. Shh.
Yeah, Skylar, you gotta get in here. It's okay. We like straight people too.
No, Polly, just for getting Bree's attention was of it.
You know,
That's
I'm
all.
assuming Skylar's straightness, but I don't know 100%. I've just
So,
assumed it.
wait, none of you were there. Okay, so in a stream earlier, we decided that people who like Skylar are Santa sexuals. There are people who have a fetish for sleeping with Santa Claus. And Skylar scratches that itch. Apparently. I did not
That's hot.
say that. Spooky bed hair
Holy
may have actually
shit.
said that.
Spooky.
But I would not put Spooky
I'm
on
here
blast
for
like
it.
that.
I'm here for it.
You know, I
Skylar.
interviewed Skylar
Rock what you got.
Fiction years ago on my channel. I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, and the thumbnail for Skylar Fiction had a white beard, and he's like, "I'm not that gray yet." He was so mad.
Oh my god. Did you see when Skylar dyed his hair? I was like, dude, what are you doing? Just
I saw a picture with a mustache, and I was like wigging out about that.
no, it's bad.
I saw when he shaved his beard off and just had the mustache. It's like, nah, well, I want the beard back.
He's so
Give me that daddy beard back, please.
Skylar's the same age as me and Spackle, and so it's just like driving me nuts when he like is going crazy. It's like I'm so old. Like,
But you got that black don't crack thing going for you, girl.
So,
Are you-
Skylar, I'm like 80% gray now. Just saying. I'm joining the club.
Skylar, don't worry, you're not old. I'm here. Stephanie's here. We got you. We got you beat. Us together are more than a century, so.
Oh my gosh, am I the baby? I'm
You
the
are the baby.
You are
Bree's
the
not
baby.
even 40 yet. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm 43.
I'll be 40 next month.
She's having a 29 again birthday bash.
Yeah. I'm not used to being the baby on any stream anymore.
So this is kind of funny. If you look at us, we're almost in order by age. We almost are.
I have no idea what you guys see.
I always
Because I'm
forget.
always in this corner here, so.
Maya and I are very close in age, but I can't remember who's ahead of who.
I think you got me by like 2 or 3 months. I'm in December.
I'm 1979 October.
October, so yeah, you got me by 2 months.
Well,
And then I
two whole
believe
months as your
Skylar
elder-
is.
as
I
your
believe
elder.
Skylar's in August.
I'm 83, so, you know. The only one born in the 80s.
Like, I can't believe you took
God,
the
we
bottle
got
out of your
Brian
mouth long enough to
Stevens,
come on the
Skylar's
screen.
NA.
Skylar, are you class of 97? Are you?
I
Okay.
missed that
Bullshit,
cutoff. I was 98.
Oh yeah, you cut off because of December. Yeah.
Beer is great and sex is heaven. We're the class of 97. That's what they used to say. My sister was class of 97.
Yeah, it was Catholic
Oh,
school.
my
They would not let us say any such thing. We couldn't talk about sex. It was dirty.
So Steph and Jenny, I guess all these people above us are really, really young to you guys because they feel pretty young to me, and I'm younger than you. So
Yeah, they all look very young.
We're all
Oh,
headed in the same
goodness.
direction,
Hey.
though, you know. Like,
That just
those
makes
who
me
are-
want to work harder to get a hold of Maya.
For those who don't know, since Beck brought it up, I'm 68.
You're
Is that your
68?
winning crew?
Yeah,
realize that.
Jenny is. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, that was
Wow.
that was Pride Month 2 years ago. We actually did.
Oh
win.
my
Are
god,
you-
that is
are you
awesome.
sailing? Nice.
So the,
Stephanie is an award-winning sailor. For
Really?
anybody who does not know
None
that.
of these people. Let's see. Only
I don't know how
one of these people really knew how to sail.
I didn't know
Send me the
that.
best one.
Ooh, I like that
No, like-
darker
Only one
pride
that
flag.
got it, nevertheless. It
Or-
was pretty funny. It was,
I like that darker colored trans flag up there. Is that
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
usually they're more pastel than that? I kind of like it with the
yeah, well,
magenta
like
and the.
you make do with the fabric you have on hand. So I made that.
I know,
No,
I
it
like
looks
it.
Great. I like that. I like
I like
those.
it.
I like those ones better.
I
they're
feel like
richer
it's more
colors.
like here I am. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
other ones are
And it
so
ma-
pale.
It
Yeah,
matches the
I
kind
agree.
of background I have here. That's just which I'm into. The pastel ones don't match as much.
We in that was we won every race. We won every single race. It was really stupid.
Damn. Are you serious? I'm older than Skylar? Shit, dude.
My
I
God,
really
yeah.
seriously class of '98, Skylar. Really? Is
I
that
was
Aunt
real?
class
Jer's,
of '98.
Aunt Jer's 97. She's with you
Yeah,
guys.
but I
Yeah.
didn't know I was
97.
older than
97.
Skylar.
Yes, Aunt Jared.
Man,
Very
I hang out with people
disappointed in
my
myself right
sister's
now.
age. You all would have been in the same class as my sister
No,
if
check
you
it
lived in
out.
the
Check it
town.
It's
out.
the
I'm
best
class of
year. I'm telling you.
89.
There's
I
a
was
lot
born in
of
'71
there's a lot of
at the
us
end
with
of the Vietnam War.
The Vietnam War.
At the end of the Vietnam War, that's when I was born. Right before the end of it.
Ah.
I was
1975.
born right before Elvis died. Or no, right about the time Elvis died.
Oh,
A lot of cool shit happened when I was born.
Well, it couldn't have been that cool. I wasn't born.
It was 2 years after 1969. Everybody knows what happened in the late 60s. So it was still bleeding over. There was a lot of 60s going on in the late 70s when I was a kid.
it depends on like where you are, and fads and ideas and everything moves slower because without the
Yeah.
internet, right? So it trickle
Oh, yeah.
usually coast
Mhm.
inward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, right?
Washington, D.C. in November of 1969.
But now things turn on a dime. It's kind of frightening.
Oh,
Well,
Skylar
things
said
have
he's going to come by.
Things have gotten much better for us as a LGBT community since, well, certainly since Stonewall, but since the '80s, I think. You know, when I entered the community, Stonewall had only been a few years away. You know, earlier, about
Mhm.
10, and most of the bigotry and stuff was still happening by then. But the one thing that had changed is that the cops weren't chasing after you and busting you in bars and
They weren't busting
bathhouses
bars,
and
that
things
was,
like that. But now it's
They waited.
you know,
They waited for urban renewal to really shut down the bathhouses.
I can't hear you, Steph.
Yeah,
They
Steph, your
waited.
mic's low, but she said that they waited for urban renewal before they shut down the bathhouses.
Yeah, that's what did it. Finally,
Bathhouses
actually,
where people
it was the AIDS
went to go
crisis
fuck.
that shut it down. That's like
Oh,
Mayor
the AIDS
Koch,
crisis, yeah.
Mayor Koch decided it was public health. He used that as an excuse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, they
Everybody
decided it's
thought-
the gay disease, right? So.
Everybody thought that Koch was queer anyway, but he used it as an excuse. He without losing the support of the gay community in New York. He used that.
I came out and AIDS was discovered just a few months after me, and so it was particularly difficult. People were very suspicious of me. That, well, why would you be doing this now? And it's got to have something to do with AIDS. And it's like, come on, the closest
Seriously?
case a couple thousand miles away. Yeah, absolutely. If you were gay, it didn't matter what people knew about you. They assumed that you were a carrier.
It still carries that way. Like I would say, like in 2012, I was seasonal working at the zoo, San Diego Zoo. Yay! But one of the coworkers started going off on bisexuals and saying bisexual. I get gay people. I get straight people, but bisexuals are nasty and dirty, and they're the ones that are spreading the diseases everywhere. And I was like, oh really? You don't say.
Where did they get them from?
And just like this idea of like, it comes from this idea of like, this is a gay disease,
Yeah.
and either you're closeted and you're really, somebody that actually is gay and is, heterosexual relationship, or you're actually bisexual and you're just quote unquote greedy. And you go over and you take this quote unquote gay disease and you drag it over to heterosexual land, and there's some bitterness, and it still exists. It still exists, like this thought, and it's so prevalent that it sticks through decades, and it's just bizarre. And I think what's frightening now is I think it's reviving again.
They only just very recently changed the Red Cross changed the policy about accepting blood from gay people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I
asking
haven't
for
given
sexual
blood
history.
in a while. Well, since before COVID, obviously. But yeah, I remember those questions on there, and wasn't it like, have you ever had anal sex or something stupid?
Yeah,
Of course, the
ridiculous.
answer would
Yes.
be, oh yes.
Only on birthdays.
Yeah,
And you
and
can
I'm
tell
just
whether
like,
they're lying or not by how they say it. Like yes or oh yeah.
Beck got it.
That one means it.
well, I mean, and it's just kind of weird. It's just like gay people are the only ones that have anal sex. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it is.
bullshit.
I mean, it is true when they tracked back to find patient zero,
mm-hmm,
which they did do,
mm-hmm,
at least
mm-hmm.
in terms of North American continent. It turns out it was a pilot person who was, doing the route from Europe to America to Africa, and sleeping around. Okay, that person brought it back to this continent, and he was gay and predominantly spread it to other gay people. And so for a long time, the primary, if not only, people that were showing symptoms and things were gay people. But it very quickly crossed over because of, bisexual people. Somebody had to make that cross that bridge. Who else is going to do that? Now,
I mean, it could have been a
course,
gay man that
there
had
of
a
course
wife.
were
Could have been a
cases where
whorehouse too.
somebody would
Lots of
donate
down low
blood
gay men.
and get it transmitted by blood or something like that. But
Yeah,
no,
but
Drugs.
drugs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
sharing
certainly
needles was a big one, especially in the
Intravenous.
80s.
absolutely.
It's got to be past blood. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's blood.
but I mean, I mean,
Bodily fluid.
I know so many nurses who've worked in the maternity ward, and I am always floored by how many women they have to tell that they have to do a cesarean because they have a sexually transmitted disease and they can't deliver vaginally.
Yeah, because it might fuck the baby up.
And they
Yep.
didn't
Now again,
realize.
I'm not saying all of their husbands are gay. I'm just saying, it's
You mean currently have STD?
no, I mean just like, and I've known nurses that worked. I mean, I'm a healthcare professional, so like, I talk to them a lot, and
Right.
it's just like I don't I don't know. I don't know what goes on, but it's a lot of pregnant women.
What shows you like how out of tune people are with their bodies,
Mhm.
what they don't know to look for, what they tolerate. Maybe their pain tolerance is like they're like, well, this is what it means to be a woman. I hurt, and
Mhm.
to not realize that maybe something's wrong and get it checked out too, because a lot of it does have. I mean, a good portion of STDs, or I guess they call it STIs, are you'll feel it. There'll be a sign for it. It's not like they're all not like syphilis. Syphilis is insidious, but yeah.
Nicholas is of course absolutely right about other vectors for passing it on. Like we're talking dirty needles and blood transfusions. But in the early days, everybody was scared of everybody because the CDC and those folks came out with the statements that it gets passed with bodily fluids, and people assumed that meant things like spit, like sweat, and that's how you ended up with all these weird policies to deal with these sorts of issues that were non-issues. I remember the NBA had some big thing going about whether or not they were going to continue games. It was commented for a few days because they thought the gross amounts of sweat that would be exchanged by players would be deadly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
because they
go.
didn't know what was going on yet.
Yeah, and of course that's not true. And then Magic Johnson comes up with a diagnosis, and he's still around
Mm-hmm.
and doing quite well.
Yes, he's quite healthy.
Yeah, that's
Well,
last time I heard, like
Magic,
he. Go ahead.
Magic sort of demystified the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A little bit.
Huge sports hero, etc., and so forth. And that's when the treatment protocols, people became familiar with them, because they were still at that point in time, they were still searching around for the best way to prevent HIV from becoming full-blown AIDS.
Right.
And so all of the stuff around Magic's treatment was it demystified the disease for the general public a lot.
Well, and I
And
think
Wow.
they did
well,
cutting edge
well,
stuff on them too, didn't they?
Yeah, because they were, because the cocktails were very expensive and very, very, and the treatment stuff was very expensive. But it was very expensive. But here's an NBA star, Magic fucking Johnson, with
Right.
millions and millions of dollars.
and of course,
Steph,
while that was all going on with Magic, Rock Hudson was diagnosed, and that changed a whole hell of a lot. Just most people had no clue that he was gay. And so for a big name celebrity, long-term celebrity, he's been around since all the 50s and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People were shocked and going, "Oh boy, anybody can get this."
Yeah.
And then, of course, as they found out he was gay, it kind of changed opinions a little bit that way. But it was still a big shock, and it did a lot for making people realize anybody can get this.
Oh, and he was such like a romance guy, so heterosexual romance.
Oh yeah,
figure,
Doris
So yeah.
Doris Day.
Hey, everybody, say hi to Skylar.
Hi, Skylar.
Hi, Skylar. I feel like I'm like the substitute teacher of the day or something. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
All right, yeah. I didn't mean
Yeah.
I just came in to say hello. And see how we're doing.
Hello.
Please continue.
So what are they?
Hello.
I would ask, what do you do for Pride Month? But Skylar lives in Florida.
Oh gosh.
We have you know what? Florida's
There's plenty going on
but
there.
we have we actually have one. We were considered one of the most friendly LGBT states.
Where?
In the world.
Where?
Huh?
I don't know
Orlando,
if you know
I
this,
thought.
Yeah,
but like the NAACP and a couple of NAACP and a couple of groups, LGBT groups are saying that it's not what do you call it? They're
Safe?
advising, there's a travel advisory against going to Florida.
Yeah.
I think it's more political. I don't think you're not going to be in any danger. I think anybody who's gay isn't generally going to be in any danger.
I mean, that club shooting.
Huh?
That club shooting was
There's
Florida.
I wouldn't say the same for anybody who's trans.
Huh.
I would not go to Florida. Well, I probably would.
How many people live?
I probably would because there's no fucking way anybody could tell.
Right.
And all my documentation is my documentation. There's no fucking way anybody would know. But if I were early in transition, there's no fucking way I would go anywhere near Florida and risk getting busted for using the fucking toilet.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, can you even get your I mean, well, say you. I'm not sure where you are, but like, I don't think you can get kids especially can't get their medications in Florida.
If you're a Florida resident, you can't.
Florida, also
Right.
Missouri just passed something in Missouri. It's not good. I'm very fearful in the direction that we're going, because it seems like people are just so eager to go back to a time where there's just going to be so much oppression and suffering, and they're just so eager to go back into those days, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how young men particularly are getting fooled into this. There's a whole movement, and you can see it on YouTube and stuff, where young men are getting sucked into this conservatism, alpha male garbage, and it's almost like a cult. Like it's they're just getting sucked into. I mean, maybe I'm in the algorithm and I watch it all, but like who's that guy that got arrested in Romania?
Oh, Tate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He is one of
Andrew Tate.
many.
Yeah,
He's one of many like him, and they just keep popping up. Yep.
Well, and like he's talking to a very young audience that thinks that women should be treated this way, or like, I don't know, like this is an acceptable way to live your life.
Yeah. But it just seems like there's this weird surge now of young people that think it's so cutting edge to be this way, and I have some worries about that.
There's that other 20-something with a huge following on YouTube that is a complete asshole. There are tons of them.
You got to narrow that one down.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're down to 5 million. Who is it?
It'll come to me. I try to avoid those people. They're very annoying.
Touche.
Yeah,
they
everybody's
are.
Oh, yeah, I
acting
can
like
hear you.
they're.
Jenny, can you hear us? Or can everybody hear Jenny?
I cannot hear Jenny. No,
I cannot hear Jenny.
Oh,
it says speaker offline.
Yes.
what? That's
Jenny might have to leave and rejoin. Maybe.
I don't know.
And where is Bree?
Did Bree leave?
I don't know. Dropped or left, and I didn't know it.
Ah, there you are.
Ah, there you are.
Oh, there's two of you.
Wonderful.
Well, yeah, Jenny's is always better than one, but now I have a
This is
little
true.
bit of a conundrum.
In this community, there's hundreds.
There actually are. I believe Aunt Jer is a Jenny.
There, it dropped. It dropped.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened, but I got bumped and it didn't. Tried to come back in, and then I had to go do it again. So, but I'm here
Yeah,
now.
this thing acts up sometimes. I really like it, but I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. But I don't know. Skylar, if you like get some more friends to like, I don't know. Like Florida being fascist is really bothering a lot of people.
This DeSantis guy, man, he's concerning.
Yeah, our government is worse than the people are out there. I'm telling you, it's not.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah,
Central Florida is
nobody.
a very gay-friendly city. I'm telling you,
Well,
Disney
it
World
used
is
to
the number
be.
one employer down there. It's not like we don't have like. I don't hear any homophobic slurs on an everyday
Oh,
basis.
one second, Bree.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Was I?
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Disney, everybody would be paying income tax in that state.
Yeah,
So go ahead, fuck with Disney. See what happens.
Don't mess with
Disney-
the mouse.
No, don't mess with the
Everybody's
mouse.
concerned about Florida, but did you all hear what's going on in Montana?
Yes.
I saw a headline, and for anybody who is kind of news averse, do you want to go into more detail on that? You know, since it is an LGBT stream and all.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it.
The governor of Montana signed a bill that basically makes it illegal to be transgender, and has all kinds of penalties like felonies and jail and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they actually defined male and female, and the law says that you can only live as your birth sex, and anything less than other than that, and you are busted and you're going to jail.
That's pretty invasive. Like how that's got to be slapped down by the Supreme Court. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what they keep
Yeah,
throwing all this
yeah,
stuff at the
I
wall
would
for.
think so, but this Supreme Court, I don't know.
Yeah.
Good fucking
they're
luck. My birth
bad.
certificate has a big fat F on it.
Lucky you.
Yeah. If you can get
That
that
part I haven't
changed
done
in
yet.
your state, do it. Do it.
Massachusetts is very good. Not only that they change it, they'll get rid of the old one.
I just think it's weird that somebody else's life is so threatening to yours that you have to make them live in a way that you deem appropriate. Like it's that extreme. It's not like someone's stealing from you. It's not like someone's breaking into your house. It's not like somebody's actually threatening your children. They're making up this shit, and then they want to like just oppress their neighbor or whoever they decide doesn't match the rest of what they've deemed quote unquote normal. And so I just think that it's so just gross. I just don't understand why people can't
The party
live and let live.
The party is now known as the Genital Obsession Party because
Yeah.
they're obsessed. They're absolutely obsessed with other people's genitals.
Yeah.
Well, in
it's
their
sick.
defense, I gotta say my genitals are pretty fantastic, so I get it. But come on, there's more important things to talk about.
That's right.
It's true though, like if you meet if you meet people like, I don't know, on the internet or whatever, your average cisgender person, people don't just walk up to you and go, "Let's talk about your genitals."
I was gonna
What you got
say
going down there?
I've always wanted to get like a group of trans people and take them out in the middle of the city and just stand in one spot and start going to people and find the cis, because you always know who the cis people are
Right.
when you're trans, right? Sometimes you don't know who the trans people are, but you always know who the cis people are. It's different. and just go out and like go to the women and say, excuse me, do you have a penis in your pants? And do the opposite for the men and just see how they like it.
Well, I can't wait
Does
till
this make you feel good that someone would ask you what's in your pants or accuse you of having something in your pants you don't have?
Well, I mean, holy shit, all the lesbians that have been accused of being cis men and, getting harassed in bathrooms. I mean, it's insane.
There's some videos of that you're seeing of women
That's the
who
only
are...
people-
It happens frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the people that are going to be mostly impacted by all this stuff are not going to be trans people. They're going to be cis people, mostly cis women.
I cannot wait until we start to get enough people who are living under these laws, the bathroom laws I'm speaking of, who happen to be trans men, and decide to obey the law and go into the women's room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, ladies, what would you do if you saw Beck come into your bathroom?
I was gonna say, I don't think any women would become. Look, before I had facial hair, they thought I was a guy, and gave me looks and said shit like, this is the women's bathroom, right? And I'd say, that's insulting, and they go, what? And I'd say, I could read, and then I'd keep walking in. Really fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's funny is like we have all these conservative white knighters, and there's almost always a dude, and they're like, well, I just gotta protect women, and I gotta protect children, and if I see somebody that looks like a man in any way, I'm gonna run over and protect them. And all the women are like, we're fine, dude. Like there's not very many women that are like, help me. There's a trans woman here.
It's all about protecting women and women's sports and,
Well, the bathroom thing, it's silly because we want the men to come run to the bathroom to rescue the women, so you want men to come in the bathroom to make sure that men don't come in the bathroom. Is that what I'm understanding your argument here?
Here's the bottom line. This is where all of it stems from. I think it all stems from toxic masculinity has spread out. One, men do not see trans men as men. They see us as women, so they don't want a woman walking to the bathroom and seeing their little penis, number one. Number two, sports, they don't want to be beat by a woman.
Well,
that's all
there are 17 collegiate teams who today got their asses, or their rudders actually, kicked by an all women's team from Stanford University. They won the collegiate nationals today at Kings Point, and I couldn't be happier. It's really great.
That is
it's
awesome.
so cool.
What sport was that? I missed.
Sailing.
Oh, cool.
Sailboat racing. They won the U.S. nationals, and it's not segregated. They won the U.S. collegiate nationals today.
Nice.
Minutes ago. They're probably getting the trophy as we speak.
That's
and
awesome.
It was the A team. There are two divisions, an A division and B division, and both of Stanford's teams were gals. It was really cool, really, really cool. In the sport of sailing, there's really very little difference between men and women. As a matter of fact, women outperform men at the collegiate level pretty consistently.
How are women at the grinder? Is that what it's called?
Well, it requires more timing than it requires upper body strength for sure, but it's more timing than anything else. Because if you're clever about your timing, then the amount of exertion goes down markedly.
All right. Welcome, Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who is an actual real doctor and apparently engaged to Bree.
My God,
that happened months ago. Yeah, Bree is preparing to become Mrs. Vandergraff.
See, look at that beard. I can't fight that.
Look,
I can't fight that beard.
I mean, okay. Well, how long have you been growing a beard, Beck?
Well, actually, I just shaved all this off and just left sideburns.
No,
I shaved off my mustache and everything.
When did you first begin to be able to grow facial hair?
Well, I shaved all of it off until October 13th, and then I shaved it off again on the sides in like February.
My point is, I couldn't grow facial hair until the age of 20, and I am now 32. So it's like 12 years of it filling in, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It took time. It took time.
I got impatient and shaved it off, hoping it'll come in a little thicker next time.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Santa,
actually
how long you been growing your epic beard?
Tapioca, did you get harassed in high school and that for that?
Can't hear you. You're muted, Skylar.
Not too much. I did not get harassed much for that. I could grow like just a little bit of stubble maybe by the end of high school, but yeah, it just there's plenty of guys in high school who can't grow beards.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of guys in their 30s who can't really grow beards. I mean, you know that one guy, he does all the shorts with where he's got the long hair. I can't remember what his name is.
Oh yeah, you know the guy with the hair, and he does videos.
I'm sorry,
long
that's
hair.
terrible.
He does the shorts.
Yeah, no, I apologize.
Now I'm down
he
to
does,
5 million. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. He does like jokes about stereotypes a lot, but like in a way that doesn't appear to my privileged butt as though it's like inappropriate, but I could be extremely ignorant. So maybe I should stop talking. No, not Bo of the Fifth Column. He's really smart though.
No, he's great.
He's amazing. No. It's hold on. Let me find it.
I want to have his
look at the name.
Yeah, Jenny turned me on to Bo, and he's amazing. He is like super.
It's the first guy that showed
up. Always
up.
has a good opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense.
I was really impressed with Bo's race takes. Like he was really on the mark for being a white guy from like he's like Florida area.
This channel, I posted it in the YouTube chat.
He said things that made me think that I hadn't thought of, and I'm pretty fucking woke. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I mean, I know I'm pretty round.
You're woke? I mean, everybody in the panel is, but it's just like he gets it. It's just like in a way that I just wouldn't even think a white person could. It's crazy. Yeah. Is it Hassan?
He's thoughtful. Yeah.
Is it Hassan? Or wait, oh no, you did put it in here. Sorry.
I just put the link in.
All right, everybody.
And it's that guy. My point is, this person cannot grow a beard, like properly, like well and thick. It's sort of.
Well, I hope it's not one of my son's videos, because he's 21 and he's still like, Mom,
sure your
come on,
your son
look at my mustache. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at, son.
But. Yeah.
I never even started puberty till I was older than 17.
Wow.
And I got beat up all the time in high school.
Ooh, that
sounds about right.
Yeah, people didn't really get beat up in high school when I was in high school. Like
what kind of school did you go to?
Who, me?
Oh, they were all high.
I don't know.
What? So public high school, nobody got beat up.
I'm not saying nobody got beat up, but
the air conditioning system. And
it wasn't. I wish. It wasn't like. I'm not saying that there weren't fights and stuff, but like somebody being a victim and just like getting beaten up is like not a thing that really flies much anymore.
You must be younger.
I am young. Yeah,
I spent
I'm 32.
my entire high school years beating up bullies.
I'm not the baby.
I was born in 91.
Baby in
I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah. So by then it was zero tolerance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
it was zero
problem
tolerance.
with zero tolerance is, and I'm not encouraging people to beat on each other, but I'm gonna say this: like in the 90s, yes, you meet me outside, I will pound you. You know, like not that kind of pounding, but you know, like clobber. Gotta be clarify, but the aggression would sort of end. Like it wasn't just on and on and on and on and on, and the aggression is on and on and on and on now.
It's pervasive. It seeps into every aspect of your life now. When you are a victim of bullying, the bullying pervades your entire life. It follows you. It follows you home. It follows you on the internet. It follows you everywhere. And
I think it's worse. I'd rather be beaten. I'd rather have somebody sock me in the face.
I'd rather get beat up and have it be over than go to school every day as a social animal. I'm a human, you know, and constantly be afraid that at any opportunity people are going to just chisel away at my humanity, which is what it's like.
I can agree with you that since I lived that in high school, I was that person who got their books dumped and pushed around into lockers, tried to lock me in my locker. Just anything you can think of, they did to me.
I was the one that was defending you then, because that's what I did. I got mad. Okay, so it started out with anger for me, honestly. I just started getting pissed off, and I would pick on whoever. I didn't care, and then I realized I was starting to become a bully, and I looked around and realized that I didn't like that, and I didn't like what the bullies were doing. So it was the end of the school year, and I went to high school, right? So high school, shit changed. High school, I went in, and I was ready to kick ass, and I wasn't going to put up with anybody's shit.
Yep, bully the bullies.
And so I went around like
they don't
picking out bullies and telling them, you better leave these people the fuck alone. And I'd sit and eat with the nerds and the geeks so nobody would pick on them at lunch. You know, like that's what I started doing. And I was a jock, and everybody thought it was weird that the jock was hanging out with, you know, I'm not hanging out with the jocks. So I didn't like them. They were assholes. So
I basically spent from 7th through 11th grade, halfway through 11th grade, being quite solitary because of bullying. My life was in the summers when I could go and shovel shit out of barns and take care of horses and ride and do that sort of thing. And then endure another year of getting the shit kicked out of me in school or having my tits squished every other day. It was really kind of grim.
Jesus. People are assholes.
Like, you know, well, okay.
I should have done that, Stephanie. I was one of those idiot people who felt the need to be accepted by my oppressors. And I did everything I possibly could to get these people to like me.
It doesn't make you an idiot. It's the natural response. It's the default.
It is. That's normal, yes.
It's hard to be a nice person in a world full of assholes. That's the problem.
I know.
Yeah. I discovered a talent for acting and singing and stuff in my junior year in high school, and that sort of got me out of the shell and into another realm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, because the whole drama realm is so much better.
God, Jesus!
I also
the good
think
Lord above is hurling boulders through the sky.
I also think it makes a big difference how big your school is, because like my graduating class from high school was 996 students.
Mine was 900. Mine was 910.
Yeah, but that's big enough that almost everybody is going to be able to like find somebody. So like the nerd community, I was on the math team and like Scholastic Bowl and stuff like that. But there were a lot of us on that, and you know, like most of my classes, I didn't have to. The people who would have hated me and caused problems with me didn't know I existed because they weren't in any of my classes and didn't know any of my friends.
My graduating class was 83.
Yeah, not ideal.
My class was 11.
Well, it was all rednecks, country kids.
And I couldn't get a date to save my soul, but I did hang out with the cheerleaders a lot. And I found out when I went to my first reunion late last year, my 50th reunion, that they let me hang out with them because they always thought I was kind of feminine. So they felt safe. They didn't know I was still hot for them, you know.
I went to my 45th and caught up with a whole bunch of people, and it was really kind of fun. I'd stayed in touch with a number of them over the years, and it was really kind of fun.
Yeah, see, I hadn't seen anybody from high school for 50 years. Not one person.
Wow.
Wow.
I can't say that.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of friends from high school still.
I mean, I don't have a lot. I just had one that was like driving through town, and she said, "Hey, I'm gonna be driving past blah blah," blah. And she was 2 years younger than me, but she was just cool, man, because she was like the tough, pretty girl who didn't take any shit, right? And she was a little taller than some of the girls, so she was kind of like, "Fuck with me, go ahead," you know what I mean? So she was a really cool person growing up, and she stopped, and we got a cup of coffee and sat down, talked for a couple hours, and caught up. I haven't talked to her since. You know, it's
Now-
just one of those things. But it's cool, like, but also at the same time, I guarantee you that she and I both know that if we needed each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's unspoken.
There's the people who like there are certain people who like even if you weren't close with them, you're like, you know what? They're a good solid person who if I needed to out of nowhere, like maybe I could call on them to help me out or something.
Yeah.
It's good to have that. And like it's also good to like try and be that. You know?
When you kids were in high school, how did they treat LGBT people?
In my school,
nobody admitted that in my high school.
Yeah,
the black kid that was there left after 2 weeks.
Wow.
I tried my best to
that's
defend him.
So
I
was
literally
class of
walked
2010.
around defending him for 2 weeks. He was like a scared little rabbit with his books every day. He went to school for maybe 2.5 weeks, and his parents moved out and sold the house later. Like, they lived there literally for 2 months.
Where roughly was this?
Back in the backwoods of West Virginia.
Not ideal.
I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I don't know either. I mean, when I was younger, we had a black family come into our church. They were there for a few months. They left. They moved somewhere else. They were amazing people, and they were really good friends with my mom, and they just told her we can't live here, and they left.
Yeah, they probably got
I was in high school.
They were scared. Their kids were scared.
I was in middle school and high school in the 90s, and you were straight. That's just what you were. And
you better.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And it wasn't an option. And being anything else was not an option. And I look at people now, and they're just like, well, where were all these people, you know, back when I was a kid? How come all these kids still, you know? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
I always knew, like, if somebody was suspected of being gay, like they were ostracized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, being gay or trans, not an option.
Do you know how I learned about gay people? In the bathroom at school, taking a shit. 2 girls walk in, they're mad at another girl, and she's like, she's a fucking lesbian anyways. I'm sure she is. And the girl's like, a what? And the other girl goes, a lesbian. And she's like, what's a lesbian? She goes, you know what a lesbian? Do you know what a faggot is? And the girl's like, no. So they have a conversation about it. I'm like, oh, thanks. I didn't know that.
Wait, I can do that?
It was always
Now I know
there.
what the fuck
That's what
I
it's
am.
called.
Beck, that could have been a scene in a movie that like
literally
sets
was
the
like
side.
a scene in the movie. The sun
It was
coming
always
through the
there.
Old tiled windows, like it was like a 70s scene.
Yeah.
It was always there, even in the 60s, you know, even when I was in high school. And it's like, you know, it was always there. But the consequences were severe. I mean, you just couldn't.
Oh,
if you were gay, or you had a boyfriend, you know. It was the consequences were there, but it was sort of you just, you know, you play the game. It's like, well,
yeah,
blah,
that's
blah,
what
blah,
you had
blah,
to do.
blah.
Yeah,
I was in
You know how many girls I would have banged in high school if being gay was allowed? Oh my god.
You're
There was
telling
some
on
hot
yourself,
chicks in
Beck.
my fucking
Jesus
school.
fucking Christ.
I was in high school from 68 to 72.
Sorry, that was funny.
I was in high school from 68 to 72, and nobody
you're behind me.
would show themselves as being gay, but the word gay and the word faggot were used all the time to
Insult.
attack people, whether they knew they were gay or not.
That was an ongoing
all
thing.
the time.
in the
That-
We had
90s.
this
That's so
one-
gay. That's so gay. That's so
Yeah.
gay. That's so, all the time.
That was
That's
true in the
that's
in
what
the
came
2000s
up after
as
the
well.
N word
It's
wasn't
it
allowed
is
anymore.
it is become. I think that's getting better slowly, but it's still a huge problem. But by the time I left high school, like, if people actually tried to insult you for being gay, like, most people at the school were like, dude, that's what's wrong with you? But
William
it
F.
was still
Buckley.
it was still
Sorry.
a synonym for like a generic insult. So
William
we
F.
heard the
Buckley on
N-word
national
daily.
television at the Democratic National Convention called Gore Vidal. They were the two of them. That was a segment that CBS had. I think it was CBS. It might have been ABC. I can't remember. But one of the networks had Vidal and Buckley, and they got into a heated argument over Vietnam and various other sorts of things. And Buckley said, "Okay." Vidal calls Buckley a fascist, a Nazi. Calls Buckley a Nazi, and Buckley got all pissed off and said, "Don't you call me a Nazi, you goddamn queer!" on live national television
Isn't that
in
lovely?
1968.
So charming, dude.
I will say this, as far as history goes, in 1934, my Nana was 17 years old, and she ended up getting invited to be a judge at a beauty contest, and when the lights came on, she realized they were all guys. She had no idea. It was a drag
Wow.
show beauty contest.
Oh, that's funny.
And nobody told her. They just brought her. Her and her sister were walking down the alley, and the guy goes, "Hey, I need a couple judges. Can you come in and help?" And they were like, "Sure." They said, "Free champagne, free steak."
that sounds like a
My-
great evening.
My grandmother and my great aunt were poor people. Champagne and steak? Fuck yeah, I'll take that at 17
drag
18
show?
years old. And
Drag-
well, no, a beauty pageant. That's
Oh.
all they knew. They were judging a beauty pageant.
Well, yeah, but like what they got was everything went better than expected. Is my understanding of the situation.
Yes. Oh, they were amazed. And I didn't realize when I was younger that my Nana kept telling me this fucking story because she knew I was not comfortable in my own skin, and she just was waiting for me to say something. I just never said it. I was scared
well,
to death. But anyways, the point
yeah.
is there were drag shows in 1934
Yeah.
in Boston. Just saying.
You know,
Oh, yes, there were in Boston.
Yeah, nobody's saying
Goddamn
like
right.
they're-
My hometown.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's saying like they weren't there, but like you had to be undercover. Like you didn't know who was your friend.
Yeah.
Some in my time, some people would have known the word transsexual. We didn't have transgender then. Some adults would know it. No kids would know it. I didn't learn the word until 1970.
Really?
Yep. And my finding out was a chance thing when I came upon the magazine that Steffi and I know about.
January 1969. Look
Yep.
magazine article, 6-page spread on transsexual women.
Wow.
Woman, just one really.
Woman.
They-
Well, no, there were two. There was the one who was loved to go bowling, and the focus of the article was, look, these are just normal suburban women. What the hell's the problem here? You know, it's really actually
Yeah, it
kind of a
was,
nice
it was.
take on the whole thing, except
don't
for the
remember the
misogyny
second
bit.
woman.
But you know,
Well, you know,
I don't
Tolerate a
remember
little
the
it's like
second
all of
one.
human
Yeah.
history. Everything
Yeah,
was
I'm
great except for the misogyny.
you know,
constant.
Yeah.
I
Except for
was
the
a home,
racism and misogyny, everything was great.
I was a
Slavery and the genocide.
Except for that part.
Goddamn misogyny.
I
It
was a
wasn't
home,
misogyny then.
Whoa, let's let Spackle finish a thought.
sorry, I've been trying to cut in for a little bit.
You have.
I was just gonna say I was a homeschool kid, so I missed the bowling thing. You know, like no throwing me in a trash can. But I did have bowling at church, and I was in theater. There's no bowling in theater. Theater's incredibly accepting, but at church, even though I was a church kid and I believed in all that stuff too, like middle school was terrible, and then high school got better. But one of the things I noticed was I was like, my friends would be like, "Oh, look at Nathan. He's so cute. Look at him," and I'm like, "Huh?"
What?
It's like nothing. like I guess I'm supposed to say, yeah, he's cute, you know, but like I found out like I'm more attracted to women than men. I am attracted to men, but like it's like a different ratio, I guess. You know, not every bisexual is like straight in the middle of one or the other. And I was just like, damn, I'm not in tune with what they're in tune with. And it was we went to Baptist summer camp, and the first time they decided to have a sex talk, it was heterosexual totally, and the plumbing works, guys, and if you can commit your virginity all over, you know, again, and they're like, oh, and people rushed up to the top, and they're like, yes, I want to become a virgin again,
What?
and exactly. And then the next day they were like, let's talk about homosexuality, and they're like, does anyone need prayer? Does anyone want to come forward? Crickets, not a single
Why
person.
would you? Yeah.
Nobody. Everybody was like, and there were some people that we knew, and like I remember my cheeks burning, and I was looking at the girl like, hey, I know you. And you know, you just like no, and I remember looking around going, wow, this must be a really bad sin because not one person's gonna come up.
Right.
But it
No,
was
yeah,
like a very
that would have gone over like, well, I
pressure.
went to Catholic school, and still it would have gone over like a lead balloon. Like nope, just a bunch of pious Virgin Marys over here.
We loved it at our school because the two girls and everybody that were out, I think at the time that was the only people that were out in our school. We knew people that were gay. A bunch of people knew the people who were gay, but we knew there were these two girls that were out, and then they made out in front of the principal one day at lunch, and it was like the talk of the school, like what happened.
Must have gone over
God.
well.
But
We would have went
yeah, that
to
was
jail
great.
for that. Are you kidding?
It was weird because I mean, there certainly were a lot of gay jokes and stuff being thrown around at that time. But you know, I don't know. I can only talk from my experience and the people I was around, right?
Mhm.
And the people that like I was around in the '90s, like they just didn't have there were gay jokes, but they didn't really hate gay people. Like it was, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't really an attack on a gay person when people made jokes. It was more just an attack, being stupid and using inappropriate language is what I would say. That isn't like
I had friends like that growing up.
It's it's not that they're trying to hurt someone because they're gay, but they're just being ignorant of they're just using poor
Yes.
language, poor jokes and shit.
I was probably
think
one of
a
those.
lot of-
To some extent, I was one of those kids before I had gay friends.
It was a
Like when I was
teenage
in middle
rebellion
school,
thing.
because I didn't know any gay people, or I thought I didn't. Although, now that I think about it, I actually can't think of anybody from my middle school. But I only kept like close to like maybe 10 of them. So
The girl I
there's-
went to prom with was lesbian. Was my good friend. He was in the closet, but we went to prom
I
together.
thought most of the guys who were nasty, they were mostly making jokes and laughing, that kind of uncomfortable laugh that people will do, about the sex act itself.
Yes.
yeah.
They wouldn't call or really attack somebody as legitimately being gay or anything like that, but they were always attacking the sex act itself and accusing others of taking part of it or doing little hand gestures and stuff that they suck somebody's cock or something.
It's like the gay game people play with
because
each other.
they-
always play with
It was really
gay
great because
chicken, call it.
at my reunion, at one point we're sitting around this table. It sat about 10, 15 people. And there were a lot of the guys that I knew in high school there, and a lot of the women I knew in high school there. And we were just sitting around, and they started shooting some little barbs at me in a friendly kind of way. I really wasn't taking offense or hurt by it. But it was intensifying a little bit. And I just said, guys, why don't you stop that? Because if you remember, I was in the locker room with you, and I know how big you really are.
I'll tell all the women.
I reckon you didn't grow much. Yeah.
Let's
I
not
don't
talk
know.
about how limp it is these days.
Well,
Yeah,
we have medical interventions in this regard.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
For me, it was weird
Yeah, I
because,
mean,
like,
but yeah, I mean, back then
things
it was just,
progressed.
I don't know. It was just, there's a lot of pressure to conform. I love seeing now that children feel comfortable, just being who they are. And I really hate all this legislation where they're trying to stifle, suppress that.
Yeah.
The people that are pushing this are, I think, are uncomfortable with where they sit for themselves, or they're just ideologues who think that it's my way or the highway. And my way includes the word of God, for
Yeah.
instance, or this or that. And it's the downfall of society if there are gay people or if there are trans people, and they don't like them then, they don't like them now, they just don't want to see that sort of thing. They think it's just bad, and what they don't seem to realize is it doesn't really make any fucking difference.
It's
Yeah,
If they just left everybody the fuck alone, everything would be fine. It's not gonna. There's no impact one way or another.
it,
I mean,
The
they're really.
politics
Let
people trying
I'm
let
to
sorry.
let people live to their potential, and live their lives, and it's better for everyone. It's just
well,
so much silly.
folks out in the
People being
chat,
silly.
you
Wait.
hear all the stories that we're telling, and Stephanie's and mine are way back at the early days when Stonewall happened. Um, this is why there are pride festivals today. This is why we have parades today, because we put up with this shit. We survived this shit. We fought
Stonewall
against
was a
this shit.
riot.
Okay, we had police that beat us up. We had regular people on the street who would beat us up. They would get raids, bars and bathhouses and all kinds of stuff. We were fired from jobs. We were kicked out of schools, but we survived all of it, and we're very proud of ourselves for having survived it,
Yeah.
considering we're such a small percentage of the population. And
Boston
that's what pride is all about, folks. We lived.
Boston had a vibrant, very, very vibrant gay culture in the 70s. I never really came out. As a matter of fact, I came out for a little bit and then went completely back in the closet. It's like, okay, I'm gonna, just shove all that shit down, put it down, because the way we were raised at the time, that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you had to do. There was no possible way of seeing a path forward, of having an integrated life within society, being gay, being trans, any of that stuff. And your awakening, Jenny, was in terms of hearing the word transsexual was 1969. 1960, that issue of Look magazine was really inspirational to me because it's possible.
Yep.
But I had heard of Christine Jorgensen. I had heard of all of these people, and I knew I was that person all the way through. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is all that, but it didn't matter because there was no path forward. So I had a brief period of time. I was in a relationship with this lovely guy, and we broke up eventually. We sort of into junior year in college. We broke up after senior in high school to junior year in college. We were together, and then we broke up. And I went. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to be straight. So I had this little window of being a part of that community at that time, and it was incredibly vibrant. There was remarkable people in all sorts of ways, and there were the bars and the this and the that, and I would run into people who were deacons in my church in the bars. Black guy, I remember particularly this. most of the people of the church that my family attended were black people, and I ran into this black guy in a black gay bar at one point, mostly black gay bar. At one point in time, he looks at me, I look at him, we go, okay, see you on Sunday. You know, but
Cheers to that.
You know, it was really, but it was it was the early 70s, it was before AIDS, and when AIDS hit, holy fuck,
Yeah.
it was just
AIDS.
this
really
is
fucked up a lot of
between
shit.
Stonewall and AIDS. It's that stretch of time.
Yeah.
And boy, when that hit, I was really worried for the people I knew and loved.
Excuse me, sorry.
Even though by that time I'd moved to Maine and was out of the lifestyle.
The beginning of the
Well,
AIDS crisis, I strongly considered detransitioning because I was so frightened by how people would begin to treat me and things. I ended up not, of course, but it was definitely on the chopping block.
Did you ever fear for your life?
Oh, sure.
I can't.
You know, I
imagine
just want to say, I don't know how other people feel, but how I feel about it is I really appreciate, you know, like you and Stephanie, Jenny, for everything you guys did and everything you learned from other people to continue on and continue the fight and everything. Like, thank you. I appreciate it. Both of you.
No problem. I'll send you a bill.
Yeah, you can send me a bill. That's fine. It can sit with the other ones.
It's gonna be
Fucking rot to
expensive.
death and be eaten by
That's a big bill.
fucking bugs or something.
No, I mean, because it's kind of crazy talking to, I've been talking to Stephanie a lot in the past couple of months, and it reminds me a lot of when I think RuPaul made a gaffe, and like the whole trans community was just like, fuck her. And, everybody else, like, I mean, a lot of non-trans people are looking just like, RuPaul, like you're dancing on the trail that she blazed for you. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
I know, right?
RuPaul does RuPaul uses he/him pronouns, as far as I know.
RuPaul uses the pronouns under which they're dressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his famous quotation is, we're all born naked, everything else is drag. Which,
there you go.
The
rest of it's just dressing up. Yep.
Yeah, there's a certain truth to that, but on the other hand, I suppose that's a little bit of a. I suppose that's true in a way, but it's not. It's an expression that doesn't ring true for me.
Well, I tell you a step.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so internal. Like so much of my attraction is emotional or I don't want to say sapiosexual because almost everybody that says that I roll my eyes at. but like it's like where's your heart and your mind and stuff like that. That is the most attractive feature in everybody for me. And so like when somebody goes, well, the sum of somebody's gender is how they dress or what their genitals look like. I just don't
when they
think
were born, right?
It's not that easy. It's so many things that make up gender expression and how you are. There's so many moving parts, and I just look at it as sort of like the way I look at it, not to be like a Kiersey, but kind of like the sliding scale. And if you ever like play a video game and you create a person and there's these sliding scales of like how masculine you want, how muscly, how this, how that.
How long your nose is,
Yeah,
where your eyebrows are.
It's sort of like that. Like there's such a massive difference between everybody that like, and I think it's okay to have that room and that flexibility, but everybody's so like, no, you got to be in this box. If you're feminine, you have to have a dress, and if you're and it's like, oh my gosh. I look back, and I'm an old movie watcher. I love all movies. I'm a movie fanatic, but I like old movies too, and I look back at old movie stars like Katharine Hepburn, who was edgy, and it was considered edgy. She wore trousers, and that she was so forward, and she was so almost, they called her masculine in her business dealings, because she was so forward and in control of her career in Hollywood, and they called her masculine, and I don't know, and it's just fascinating because now that would be accepted, but then it was like shocking, and I don't want to go back to those days. I don't want to go back to that.
Well, I mean, you have to understand, like, she wore pants, like, it was edgy because it was illegal in a lot of places for a woman to wear pants.
Which is also just insane and obviously unconstitutional. Like, what?
That was a long time ago, too, you know.
But, I mean, yeah, that's part of why it was considered masculine, because you would only see men wearing pants.
Yeah.
And, like, there are restaurants, I mean, you couldn't eat in a restaurant if you're a woman with pants on.
Oh, you can't go into certain nightclubs if you're a woman without a dress.
And there's
or
so
a man
much,
without a tie.
Or a man without a tie.
and there's so much flexibility
and a
too,
suit jacket.
culturally. Like, there's some cultures where, I mean, look at a kilt. Like, balls are swinging. like I'm sorry.
Good
There's
for
some air
them.
movement. You know,
Fuck,
like,
I don't give a shit what
you
the
know-
What have you got me sputtering?
I would love to be able to wear, like, is there just like a generic term for that? An open bottom, I guess, where, you know, it's all one
Kilt.
thing instead of
Balls out.
well,
Kilt,
no, but
toga party,
I'm
I mean,
generic.
yeah.
Like a skirt, a kilt, a dress, all of them do the same thing. They're kind of open. They've
No,
got
because
one...
dresses are full length and skirts are
yes,
from the waist
but
down.
I'm referring just to the how it reflects.
Oh,
Never mind. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like, he likes
So-
it when his balls are alled to swing in the wind.
Yes,
is what he's trying to say.
exactly.
So there was
I like the breeze.
there was recent this past month there was a guy who wanted to I think it was a trans mask person who wanted to wear a tux to graduation or something. No, it was a trans femme person, and she wanted to wear a dress to her high school graduation. This is in Mississippi. It was in Mississippi, right?
I already
And-
that it provides so much information.
And they and the school wouldn't let her. And so nope, sorry, you can't do that. You need to. So all of the children who were graduating from high school at that commencement ceremony were dressed in, let me think, what do they call those? Graduation gowns.
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck difference does it make? What's under the goddamn thing?
right? Just control freaks, right?
I
Control.
mean, what's the matter with you
Also,
people? It's like
for the record-
she's gonna go up, get her fucking diploma, and she's gonna be dressed like every other freaking student in the class in her graduation gown.
Idaho
Which-
just did that to another young trans girl.
What did they do?
They wouldn't let her graduate unless she wore pants and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the fuck?
And for the record, a gown is open bottomed, like I'm describing, like a kilt, like a skirt, like a dress. You
It's
know,
ridiculous.
People
It's
were
ridiculous.
in their shorts and bathing suits under those things.
Right?
They were-
there's like a solid 5 to 10%. I'm convinced of like every high school class that doesn't realize you're supposed to wear clothes underneath the gown.
I think
I think so. Yeah, we actually had a dress code for graduation because
We had a rehearsal.
well, yeah, the rehearsal wasn't. You didn't have your gown on in the rehearsal, but like the day of, they were looking to see what people were wearing under their gowns. Like it had to. So I don't know what used to happen, but yeah, I think it's
streaking
probably.
happened in the past.
They're just
Streaking
like, yeah,
happened,
take the
yes.
gown up, streak as you're like getting
Yeah.
your diploma.
Streaking's
Sorry.
happened in the past, so.
Yeah.
Just flip the gown up over your head and just fucking run straight forward. Nobody knows who you are.
Reminds me of an ancient Monty Python bit where one of them is there's a guy dressed in a white coat and all of this stuff, and he's underneath a Scotsman, and he goes, he's picks the kilt up, looks out, goes, "I'm a gynecologist, but this is my lunch hour."
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Tapioca, since you're asking, I expect that you're interested in wearing a skirt or a kilt or something. It's wonderful.
I know it is. Okay, so when I was in college,
Oh my god.
Maya has heard this story and she's jealous about
You're
it.
already anticipating? Oh my god.
So no,
Maya's
I'm
got
gonna
it
need
down.
I'm gonna need more alcohol for this.
there was this amazing dress that was like the property of my fraternity. I was in a fraternity. It was the fraternity for the like non-fraternity person. It doesn't matter.
And
Anyway,
they had one dress.
we had one dress, this long black and white
Jesus.
polka dotted dress
Fuck,
that had been
man.
left at a party that like was it belonged to a fairly tall woman apparently, because like we all fit in it, including me. I'm 6'4", and this thing fit me well. It was awesome, and it was amazing.
Do you have good legs in it? You have good legs?
I got so many compliments, and it had the deepest, nicest pockets. It was
What?
an
Oh,
amazing
Wait a minute,
dress.
that doesn't seem right.
It was so awesome. It was
We all
so
have
awesome.
pockets.
But it was so comfortable wearing this dress. So I would like wear it
Well,
around.
of course
every
it was
so
comfortable.
often.
You had some place to put your hands.
Well, yes, but besides that, sometimes it's hot and I don't want to put my hands in my pockets. Okay. But it
Yeah,
like
sometimes
it
it's hot. You gotta air out
flowed,
your
and it was
balls.
just like
Look
it
at
was,
Maya
it
thinking
flowed,
ahead.
and there
Got
was
the
room, and it was
refreshments
wonderful.
right by her side. I'm gonna have to excuse
He
myself.
really,
All right.
he really.
I love
misses
this
the
dress. I miss that dress so much because I had to leave it behind because even though I wore it more than anybody else, it wasn't my property. It belonged to the fraternity.
Yeah.
I want to see
Terrible.
this alleged pocket dress because that's really hard to find.
Well,
Yeah, I knew that back then.
Chat isn't. I don't know why it's not updating, but Andrew said the same thing. Fake story. Fake news. Dresses don't have pockets.
No, you
That's
know
right.
what? I will find a
believe it.
picture. Well,
No shit,
I have to
I'm
find a picture of my
sure.
Wait a minute.
Hey.
You're gonna show us a picture of
Pixar
your
didn't
hairy
happen.
legs in a dress?
Yo, if I find one, absolutely.
All right.
Tapioca.
I have
There's
very
something
little
called
shame.
TOS. I don't need to see any balls out. All right.
No, I
Yeah, no.
Please don't.
deleted all of those pictures.
If you enjoyed the
I'm glad.
experience, if you enjoyed the experience so much, these days there's no
enjoyed it
reason
so
why you
much.
can't have that as part of your life.
Yeah. There's
That's what
nothing to
being an
stop
envy
you.
is all about. That sometimes
Yeah,
you feel like a dress, sometimes you feel like a suit.
Sometimes
those are
you
just rough
don't.
definitions, but
Honestly, you're not wrong. Maybe I should just go out and buy a skirt and just like wear a skirt sometimes. It is weird though because I've also switched from boxers to boxer briefs, which ruins some of the point of it.
Well, hold on now. Do you get the regular boxer briefs or do you get the ones that have the banana hammock in them?
No comment.
Banana hammock.
Okay.
what's
Go
that?
with the banana hammocks. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Well,
Do it.
Gary Merrill,
Do it.
Betty Davis's ex. Husband,
Oh, yeah,
he was quite fond of skirts, and he would come up here. He had a house. He had a place on House Island in Casco Bay, which is right up there.
Off camera.
Yeah, up there somewhere. And he would wander around Portland town in his skirt, and nobody gave a shit. It was fine. It's like whatever. And this is like in the 80s, 70s.
What
80s.
town is that out there, Stephanie? Is that Provincetown?
That's
that
Cape
has the big-
Elizabeth.
That
Cape Elizabeth,
Steph,
Maine is there, right there.
Steph, is it Provincetown that has the big cross-dressing thing every year?
Oh yeah. P-Town's great.
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I know P-Town is a feature is a personality on the
Yeah.
YouTube.
I
On the
yeah,
agree.
YouTubes, but every time I see the fucking guy's name, I think of Provincetown, and I just start thinking of Pina Colada. You know, the Pina Colada song.
I was
Weasel,
just thinking.
No, you should. He's a
if
sock
you're
puppet.
really
Like,
interested, check out Provincetown and consider going there. There's thousands
Provincetown's
of people
wonderful.
come to the event, and you're going to be so totally anonymous. You know,
I'm not. For the record, I am open about my identity on YouTube, even though I don't brand myself with it. I'm Michael Vandegraff. I work as a physicist in California, and like, yeah,
it's a long way from
Provincetown. Yeah, like just put your driver's license away.
Well, dude, if you're in California, because I'm in California too. If you're in California, then you could wear almost anything in most places.
Oh yeah, no.
He's in a very liberal town. He can wear anything he wants.
Yeah, I work at. I'm a postdoc at a university. It's.
I mean, so you're in a lab coat. Like you could literally walk around in a dress.
I've worn a lab coat once in my life that I know of, and it was when I was visiting my friend who works in a biochemistry lab. I was visiting his lab. He was giving me a tour, and I had to wear a lab coat. I'm a physicist. We don't wear lab coats.
Wait, how do you work your Jewish space laser without a lab coat? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I thought that was a requirement.
All you need is like, well, depending on the month, maybe a menorah, but other than that, a yarmulke, you're good.
Do you still have to wear a yarmulke if you're wearing a dress?
Well, it's a Jewish space laser. It doesn't care about the dress.
I really hope everybody else heard Stephanie laughing off screen.
Oh my god.
She has the best laugh.
Hey,
we don't have any lasers in space, though. I used to, but I switched projects.
Shut up.
I dug up an artifact from my transition days. The only thing that we had in our arsenal of existence was a letter to keep us from getting harassed, theoretically.
A letter?
What do you mean?
A letter. It was written by my shrink, and you'll understand it when you read it. It's only one paragraph. To whom it may concern, blah blah blah, my dead name, is undergoing a program of gender reorientation. See, they didn't have words they have now. As part of the rehabilitation process, rehab, the client is expected to work and live 24 hours a day as a female for at least a year prior to undertaking surgical procedures. The change of name is prescribed as an integral part of this program. You spelled that wrong. These and other steps are necessary for her physical and mental well-being. Here's the kicker. I request that any dealing you have with Ms. Morgan reflect an understanding of this situation and in no way interferes with it. I only had to use it once.
I have one of those letters too.
Yeah, I only had to use it once, and that was when I lost my wallet and somebody turned it into the police department.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, it was. I had to go in. It was late at night. It was like almost midnight. They tracked me down and called my home.
Wow.
And they gave me the wallet without any hassle or anything. You know, of course, I couldn't produce ID because it was in the wallet.
Because it's in the wallet.
But I mean, to be fair, it's a problem that solves itself, right?
Yeah. Oh, look, it is you.
They gave it to me, and as I walked out and left the room that they were in, I could hear them just laughing and making jokes and stuff. You know, it was really quite cruel. But
yeah.
Interesting,
Oh
isn't
no,
it?
That is interesting.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing
And
that.
I don't know as people realize that this is still the case in most jurisdictions. It is the case in the UK still that what the Harry S. Benjamin standards of care, now the WPATH standards of care, used to require a 2-year real life test. And so all of these bathroom bills, what do? They preclude that.
Yeah.
You can't live in your desired gender role without if you want, before you undergo any sort of medical intervention. This is the way it was when I transitioned 25 years ago. Before you undergo any form of medical intervention, you socially transition. You're required to.
Well,
So, how are you supposed to do that?
the annoying
not.
thing about this, folks in the chat, is that I would say between the years of about 1984, 85, and a couple 3-4 years ago, you didn't have to worry about anything like that.
Right.
If you were transitioning, you could say that to like a cop or something, and it would be accepted. Nobody would raise hell. Nobody gave problems.
Right.
You used the bathroom of your identity, and there was no problem. And it only became an issue when the bastard Republicans decided to use us as their token for gaining votes.
Right.
After the gay marriage was settled. They needed a new slave, and we were it.
They needed a wedge issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just disgusting how long this has been going on.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that we hear things like Montana, who we just know, and Florida, that these things are actually becoming real. I have heard that the Justice Department is looking at test cases to strike all this down. Because if you know anything about the Constitution, these people cannot make you live one way or another. They can't. But they're still trying it, and there's going to be an interim time where you have to do what they say because the laws haven't been corrected.
Yeah, they're trying to find. I mean, just like the conservatives used to do. You have places like the ACLU and the NAACP trying to find the right case. Because it can't just be, well, here's the thing that only affects trans people. Oh, fuck those bastards. It has to be something where it would have broader implications, where, if we enact this law, it means like no other kid in the country can have circumcision, or something that has that kind of implication to where they can't uphold it.
They have done that, but in a lot of the laws, they've made them specifically about drag. Okay, and drag.
Well, and there's been some states that explicitly said except circumcision.
Yeah,
which,
but they would be vague enough with the laws that it could be interpreted as being a trans person too. So they put them under the same guillotine.
So
yeah, so it can hit all trans people. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
On that point, the Utah law banning trans-affirming care for persons under the age of 18 specifically exempted breast augmentation for cisgender females.
Wow. Yeah. Now, in other things,
augmentation. Holy shit! I thought you were going to say double mastectomy for cisgender men, but
specifically exempted breast augmentation for cisgender females under the age of 18.
I didn't even know that was a thing you could do.
And that's gender-affirming care. Let's be clear. Gender-affirming care is offered to cis people, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna head out for a little while. I might be back later, but I just wanted to say goodbye to everyone.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Dad.
I would say that people do frown upon breast augmentation for minors. I actually would say they do. I think rightfully so. I think there's a risk to breast augmentation.
They do, but they don't pass laws.
Right.
to prevent that from
social.
happening.
It's social frowning, right?
It's social
Right.
frowning.
Right.
I mean,
also,
it's not. It's
tattoos.
my point is that you know, when it comes to litigating this, you're going to forbid it for one class of people, but permit it specifically
Yes.
for another class of people based on their gender identification and status.
well,
right?
there was
And that
one.
should be against Title IX.
There was
And
one.
So it's not-
Basically, their opinion
14th
is what they're
Amendment.
basing it on.
There was one state law that was so sweeping, and it made the exception for circumcision, like you're mentioning, and it made the exception for intersex because we can't have anybody that's intersex around and like you know
That's
like
another
yeah.
issue.
Yeah, because it would just fuck up their
they
whole point.
made those two exceptions, right? Because one's religious and the other one's like, well, this is messing me up, so like, you know, we're gonna mess you up. So the next thing is like, but then there is granted a small percentage, but there are minor young women who end up with breast cancer that do have to get a mastectomy,
Yeah.
and the law didn't exempt them.
Oh my God.
They
That's
write
crazy.
the laws vague enough so that they can affect whoever they want them to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, you know, in Texas right
Gender
now.
affirming care
I'm sorry.
is the kind of stuff that we get, the kind of stuff that Beck gets, great. But it's also Viagra.
Mhm.
It's
Sure.
breast augmentation. It's facelifts. It's tummy tucks. All of those things enhance the gender affirmation of the patient.
Right.
Okay, and there's actually a whole list of them. And so technically, all of those things have to be illegal as well, because in most of these bills, they did not make a list like that. They're stupid.
Yeah.
The
Well, no,
Mormons
they-
are smart
they're-
though.
They're trying to make it broad, one, so that they can dog whistle to their judge friends, because these go before certain judges, and they know who they are. And another one, I know in Texas right now, there's around 15 women trying to sue the state because they almost died because they couldn't have an abortion,
Right.
and it's not really clear like what a life-saving procedure is. So I mean, like I think all of them went into sepsis and almost died.
Yeah.
And for a significant number of them, it fucked up their ability to
Have kids in the future.
yeah, exactly.
There was
And
one woman, they had to take her
they do this
uterus
all the
out to
time.
get around. They're like, well, we're going to take the baby and the uterus. Like, are you
Oh
kidding me?
no!
Yeah.
I think it's fair to point out that when this latest push in law started, both laws against gender affirming care and abortion care were pushed at the same time, almost very simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
That it happened in Texas, it happened in Arkansas. The anti-abortion bills and the anti-trans bills went through. It was Bill 1, Bill 2,
Mm-hmm.
and these are both assaults on the human person. And it's the
It's
the
against
conservative
the nature
assault.
of human.
This conservative assault on bodily autonomy for anyone is, right out there for anyone to see.
Yeah.
And what's funny is we've been pointing out this is we are
Yeah.
the canaries.
Yeah.
We're the canaries. Don't let us die, because we're the canaries in the coal mine, and they're gonna get you at some point.
And this is what I've been saying to everybody. I'm like, they're just focused here now. Don't think that they aren't still thinking about, Black people, anyone of color, women, it just Democrats. They're not done. This whole everybody. Everybody's just like, oh, like trans people are the new Black people. I'm like, no, They're still against CRT. They're still taking actual history out of the schools. They're still dumbing down their children so that they don't have any leg to stand on when we're asking for sympathy.
And
Go ahead.
you don't need to have relative injustices.
Right.
Right? An injustice is an injustice. If it's being done to one category of people, isn't that bad enough?
One would think.
What the fuck? We don't need to have that. We need to be. This is what intersectionality is about. It's not the same injustice, but it's injustice.
Right.
You fight that for whatever party it's being inflicted upon.
Mm-hmm.
For Black people, for Native people, for anyone.
One of the flags to let you know how bad this is getting is now this guy who just got bounced out of office or impeached, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas.
That asshole.
He was the first guy to start demanding. He does it without legislation. He does it without an executive order. He just pronounced it that all the counties are going to give him all the information on anybody who changed the name on a driver's license.
Yeah.
Or a few other things, because he wanted to have a library of all the trans people and know where they are.
Right.
And now Florida is doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nobody has stood up and said, you can't do that. That's fucking Nazi. That's fucking fascist. That's dictatorial. That's authoritarian. It's so many bad things.
They know that.
It's just how can you even think of doing something like that? This is America. It's because they're not Americans. They're Nazis and fascists.
Well, and there's this. If I had a nickel, and I know so many conservatives, being that I worked in church and my relatives and like being in a military town. If I had a nickel for how many conservatives are like anti-gay and anti-transgender and all this stuff, until their son is. Until their daughter is.
Yep.
Until it like suddenly
Nancy Reagan.
Right. And then all of a sudden, where's it like,
Yeah.
The governor of Montana, who just signed in that horrid law outlawing transgenderism, has a son who is trans. He was willing to do this to his own son. That tells you how sick these people are.
Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, he's horrible.
Talk about that asshole.
Oh, by the way, Elon just picked up on Twitter and said like the whole like they're not slaughtering children, they're butchering children. He's picked up on that and he's retweeting that stuff. Like he's like, I'm going to fight against it.
Yeah, he's going to lobby specifically, he said.
Elon today. Now, bear in mind, Matt Walsh. We're all familiar with Matt Walsh. Nice guy, wonderful guy, fantastic dude. Did this documentary called "What Is a Woman," which Twitter, by its own standards, determined was hate speech.
Accurate.
Elon today, and Matt got his booty like sort of yeeted, but Elon today decided to tweet. I'm not going to look up the tweet. I'm just going to off the top of my head, but you can find it. He today tweeted, "Every parent should watch this," and tweeted a link to Walsh's magnum opus. At which point, two of the members of Twitter safety decided that's enough. We quit.
Dr. Phil brought Matt Walsh onto his show, where he did his whole spiel and played the game with, oh, well, what is a woman? And it's like, dude. And all he did was absolutely sour the pot against us so badly. He tried to defend us, but he couldn't out talk Matt Walsh because he's not experienced enough with trans people.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a pro.
It's difficult, and they like people like him and Shapiro and the rest of them. They do that like sleight of hand with
Yes.
the way they describe things, and I mean, I remember like it's like there's something off in the way he's phrasing it, and I mean, because it threw me. And I had to really listen to a lot of people push back to hear. It's like, okay, but I mean, it's also a lot of learning. Like if you don't know, you don't know, and you just can't be educated on absolutely everything. Conservatives will pull anything out of their ass for money.
I think we
yeah,
need to be
absolutely make up
comfortable answering what is a woman or what is a man.
Whoa,
I think-
whoa, whoa.
I think we need to be more comfortable answering that question. And that question is several moving parts. It's not just one.
Right.
And so I think Ben is honest. Student Dr. Ben had the best answer that I've run into, which is like, it's not just one thing. It's this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And it's not, it's like assembly of things that makes, this is your gender. Because like you could have your bits blown off in war, you're not suddenly not a man, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
like this is silly.
Yeah, but they will answer it where it's just like, oh well, he had the capacity to, whatever, or a woman who has who's infertile, that's an anomaly. Like they
See, it's
they
so
were
stupid.
supposed to, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, who? I mean, you're saying like we have to call this person a woman because God. But God said that this person can't reproduce, and you're saying that reproduction is a key feature of a woman. So, like, you're moving the goalposts, and that's all they do. I mean, you blow out one, you get them into a spot. You're like, okay, this doesn't encompass all women, and then next thing you know, the goalpost is in the next fucking football field.
I think the critical principle, if you want to get into the whole biology discussion,
They don't
or
understand
whatever,
biology.
but it's almost set aside because a human being is a human being. What is a human being? Ask that question first.
Right.
Ask that question first. A human being is a composite of all of the things that go into that. Yes, gametes, sure, okay, that's fine. Capacity for producing gametes, sure, that's fine. But there's a whole bunch of these other things. Feeling, intellect, internal sense of self. There's just a number of things that we cannot ever. We may at some point in time discover exactly what makes us all tick. But at this point in time, I don't know as anybody knows what makes any individual human being tick precisely. And how can you be so goddamn callous as to not recognize that people have the capacity to know who they are and know themselves.
They don't care.
They just want they seem to want an objective measure so that which is a totally human desire. Let's put people into boxes so we can conveniently identify them and treat them according to the way those boxes are. But then again, who gets to define those boxes?
Stephanie, they have been offered that simple explanation and they reject it out of hand.
I know. All the time.
If you talk to Dr. Ben, he and others, he will explain how there seems to be a part of the brain which makes a biological determination of whether you perceive yourself as a male or a female.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And
it's your chromosomes that have done that to you.
It's your genes,
And
not your
That's gonna why.
chromosomes. But let's.
Okay. So
And-
if I'm ever with Matt Walsh and he asks me what's a woman, I'm going to say, well, you are. And I'm going to put him on the spot and make him explain himself out of that.
Yeah, well, there's that. That's an approach. I think. I think if I'm mad, I can figure out a way of arguing my way out of that box. But the problem is, my point is that what they're trying to do is put people into boxes that they can conveniently
Yes.
sort. And unfortunately, the unfortunate thing is that human beings, humanity doesn't belong in boxes. We don't.
My rights are not
don't
negotiable.
belong in boxes for you to sort out.
I'm going to
We
actually say something.
belong.
Wait. Well, Beck was saying something. I think after Stephanie finishes.
We belong to ourselves. Our identities belong to ourselves. Is basically my point, and I agree with Ben. Ben and I've talked about this, and we fundamentally agree. It's like we're complex organisms, and there's a lot more to us. There's there's far in this more in this world than is dreamed of in your philosophy, Matt Walsh.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, for those of you who do not know or have never heard of it or whatever, they have done brain scans on trans people, and their brain function mimics the gender they feel as if they are. There's something to that, folks.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Like,
actually,
if you scanned my brain, it would look like the brain activity of a cis male.
Purple was saying that too.
For those who want to understand why that is true, in the gestation of a child, there's a couple of things that happen regarding genital construction, dimorphication, where the hormone basis of
Called hormone wash, yeah.
The hormone wash will cause the genitals to grow to a male genital or a female genital. But then months later, there is another hormone wash, and that's the one that affects the brain. And it's under a completely different set of positives and negatives that can fuck it up than the original genital declarations. And that's what's going on, is that part of this person is, yes, this person has an XY, and yes, they grew these genitals, but that's not sex. Your head, your brain is your largest sex organ.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
To me, the ideology is like, I am curious. You need to know, but I'm not that curious. I don't think it matters really, because, as I said, at the end of the day, it's the complete organism that makes the difference. And I think that any human, as a complete organism, walking around in the world, deserves respect, and that it's not too much of an ask.
It's not too much of an ask, but you have to ask. Clearly, you have to ask, and they're
and the same arguments are made about
apologetics that I mean, we're gonna have to have answers to. They demand answers to respect. I mean, me too. I have the luxury of being black and a woman, and I have to.
Wow, luxury.
I'm sorry, we're
exactly
all in.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I do want to get to. I think I cut Spackle off, but yeah, I mean, like, they are demanding a rationale to respect non-Christian white men, and I mean, it sucks ass, but it is what we're forced to do because our politicians aren't properly supporting us. I'm sorry, Spackle, and then Bree.
And I know that, like, most folks here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 transgender folks, and I am not transgender. But I don't mind talking about this because it's been so important. I'm so worried about what's happening, and I think it's important to have these conversations. But I was just going to say that there's also thought about same-sex attraction being its sort of own sliding scale. It doesn't always match your genitalia, and it's also thoughts that maybe this happens in the womb, and there's some sort of effect on our brain, and it's not something that's just learned, later on. And I don't think there's a gay gene per se, like they used to try to say, but I think that there's something to be said that there's something that's set in motion for some people that just isn't for others. And I know that Exodus Ministries tried to make it into it's trauma. It's trauma. So, like that's I saw a counselor in high school, and then they were like, oh, it's trauma that makes you this way. Oh, clearly, and but that's not supported. There's plenty of
I want to address that.
there's plenty of folks that have trauma that remain heterosexual. Like it's not the main driver of anything.
It is absolutely true that a traumatic experience of some sort in some people can make permanent changes in their DNA. They have been able to show that clinically, definitively through DNA research, that epigenetics are such that a person can be traumatized, it will change their DNA structure, and it will be passed on to their offspring. That's how real it is. So yeah, they can consider that we're this way because of trauma. Sure, yeah, you're right. But the change is permanent, and it's not going to go back. So you have to accept it from that level.
Well, that's what they try to do. Like they try to do exposure therapy, or if you don't have a good relationship with like a father figure and you're a man, like you should be able to hug this guy without having attraction. And they would do things like that, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And as you know, the story, Exodus completely failed and fell apart, and there's a whole documentary about it, like where the leaders are ashamed. They're like, we never changed. We tried, but we never changed, and the shame that they carry is pretty heavy.
My whole problem with this level of framing is the framing within the context of something being wrong. Something went wrong. Right. You are wrong. No, we're fucking not wrong.
I get so sick of people saying you're in the wrong body. Saying you're born in the wrong body. No, my body was fine, and I went through puberty and started changing in a way that didn't match with what I wanted it to, or what what I felt was right for it to have gone. Yeah, and some of us, me and Stephanie, and I know, and Beck, we made it. We went through all the trying to tough it out with the hand we were dealt. I don't want that for people in the future. That's my main talking point on this subject, is I don't want that to be a choice that someone has to make in the future, like what we had to do. I know I lost at least 20 years as an adult trans woman.
Oh my God.
Steph, you're about the same, right? So I mean, if it was so fucking easy, we were just being selfish or some shit. That's what makes me mad. So mad. Right. Matt Walsh, he calls us selfish for making this choice for ourselves to be our happiest and healthiest versions of ourselves.
Look, I tried the other way, and I was fucking miserable, and I was fucking like suicidal more often. I was really fucked up back then. So
y'all know that Matt Walsh does not have any sort of degree of any sort, right?
I didn't know that, but that's funny. I never looked into it.
I don't give a shit.
Well, it matters. I mean, I don't either. But I just learned the other side of the coin.
Jordan Peterson has, a PhD, and really, fuck that guy.
And he's still an idiot.
If you talk really fast, if you talk really fast, like Shapiro, people think you're really smart because you're talking really fast. So that's
is that what does it?
What you're talking about, right?
Oh, I get it now.
Well, he better not push my buttons. A lot of you have heard me talk fast and do an argument. What really pisses me off about these people is that you'll have the ones that are out there playing the political game, trying to get the laws changed, trying to make all kinds of this and that and poison pills and everything they can possibly do to get the law changed. But then there's these other little followers, these little minions, these little nothings of dirt that are on the ground who come in and chime in on Twitter and these sorts of things, saying horribly hurtful things that we already know. Okay, I know that my genetics are not going to change. I know that my hips are not going to change. Okay, but they insist on making that an issue just to make hurt.
Yeah.
That they are doing it just to be cruel. No other reason. And that is just absolutely inhuman. These people should not be allowed to behave that way. There should be some way to, well, there is in Canada.
Well, I mean, and you have to remember, like, they're not trying to be helpful. They're not trying to understand. They're part of a religious hate cult. And there's, I mean, just seriously, this us versus them. They honestly believe that Jesus is coming back for them and everybody else is going to hell. And they don't feel like they have to respect that. We are trying to ruin the world, and
Obviously.
They have, I don't know, they are soldiers for Christ and have to, like, I don't know, provide law and order for Jesus. They really do believe this shit. And they will, they don't care about being consistent. They don't mind being hypocritical. I mean, it's not even hypocritical. We can do whatever we want because we are fighting a war for God. And so you can't do what we do. We can lie, we can cheat, we can do whatever. We just have to win souls for Jesus. And some of you, me because I'm black, and Spackle because she's what do you call it? Likes girls. I mean, it's not even the bi part. She likes girls. So Spackle can burn in hell forever, and everybody else was just born wrong. It just, I
Spackle also doesn't believe in the young Earth, so she's going to hell for that too.
Can I throw out what might be
when I was young? Yeah, I can't help it. I was raised that way.
Can I throw out what might be a turd in the punch bowl? What do you do with people like Rebecca? Bread for
I
life.
don't know why she gets any attention at all. I
don't know either, but
I've been forced to see quite a few of her streams, and I'm like, I don't understand what the draw is.
Rebecca who?
I remember
Bread for life. She's got
Rebecca Davis.
How many? Yeah, Rebecca Davis.
And I don't even know what to think about that whole thing that Jay streamed. Like, was she really trying to be inclusive, or was she just saying that to make people happy at that moment? But really, she's a fucking anti-trans and gay. I mean, I don't know. What's her deal?
Well,
she actually checks in on me and stuff. She's kind of nice that way. She tries to offer to take care. Like,
she wanted to be she wanted to be. I'm a Christian apologist, but I love my gay and trans.
So she's really trying to be inclusive then.
She's like a love thy neighbor Christian, but it's hard to be that and follow a fundamentalist Christian.
But she's a fundamentalist Christian. What do you do with people like that? It's like,
when you say she's a fundamentalist Christian, what do you mean? Like creationist or something else?
Yeah, she's a young Earth creationist.
She's a young Earth creationist.
Anti-evolutionist.
I'll be right back.
I would love to have a conversation with her. I bet I could direct her to some more progressive Christians.
Yeah, I mean, it's my problem with that approach is, okay, you say this, but on the other hand, I mean, she was going on about, yeah, but I have concerns about how many people are coming out as gay and trans, and all of a sudden this is happening. And of course, the left hand, right hand argument,
Yeah.
throw,
I hear that a
jumps
lot,
up.
even from secular people. They think that it's trending.
Yes.
But part of that is I did talk to one father who said that his daughter went through all these stages and it was confusing him because he's accepting, but I'm sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Is it too bad?
That's okay. Let them go nuts.
They're having fun, believe it or not.
That's
But
good.
he said that, hey, my daughter's bi. Hey, my daughter's trans. No, she's not now. Now she's straight, and she's kind of going through these phases. And he's like, are you trying on sweaters? Like, what's it? But he's trying to be accepting and loving. But he's like, what's going on here? And so I can understand that there's some situations where parents are scratching their head, going, I don't know what's going on. And I don't know what that is. But it does exist. I can't pretend like that doesn't exist, like, because it has, but I don't know what that is exactly.
I think personally that that's healthy. Let them play.
Yeah.
Let them play. They'll figure it out.
I mean, it's no different than, kids going through a golf stage or, I don't know, my daughter
They can
tried
actually
every...
express themselves. Now.
Yeah.
I mean,
or
wanted
trying
to be able
different
to
hairstyles or, like, your adolescence is all about finding who you are and what you like. And if it's not the norm, then you're going to have to try on a lot of hats to be able to, like, figure it out. And, for parents, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or that they're, the media is trying to make them X, Y, or Z. They're just trying to figure out who they are.
I think the only concern would be, like, you don't want to make a permanent change on something that you don't absolutely know.
They're kids.
That's where the scare comes, because they're presenting it like we're saying, yes, we're going to make these permanent changes to your child with puberty blockers and things like that. As you come off the puberty blockers, your body develops and you're fine. The only thing that they found is there's going to be a slight difference in the adult bone density in adults that go male to female and then detransition back because it wasn't right for them or whatever, which is a tiny portion of a tiny portion of a tiny portion of a population.
Like really small.
May I discuss that for just a moment?
Go for it.
Through various reasons, I won't get into here just because it takes time. I was off HRT for better than 20 years. And I do have osteoporosis, a rather significant case of it, but it took 20 years, without hormones to have a problem.
Yeah.
What these bastards don't realize is that the whole purpose of the therapy kids get or adults get to discuss or understand themselves in terms of gender, the whole idea of it is to either talk them out of it or help them go through it. Okay, it's the whole it's a process of discovery. It's not let's get you going and take those hormones and take those blockers right now. No, it's a process of discovery.
Right. But that's not what they're being told. Because Bria, are you still there? She walked off.
Yeah, I am. I'm
sorry, I interrupted.
So I'm snacking too.
No, well, I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to stop you from eating, but like I remember you said that you were having a conversation with Cindy Lincoln about trans, and they're just not being told like anything about the truth. Everything's just about how scary trans people are and how they went. You should probably tell.
Yeah, it's about what they hear about the schools and the sports and the bathrooms, all this stuff that we've always been. Trans people have always been here and always been using the facilities and everything, but they're making it into this scary new thing, and it's not. They're turning something that's just been a small portion of the population have this expression, and that's something we deal with on a case by case basis, and turning it into something that there's this whole mass of men pretending to be women so they can go in and spy on your daughters and things like that. That's what they're afraid of, and that's what the media is showing them. That's what what Fox News is telling them about trans people. That's what's
so ridiculous.
And that's what the Daily Wire should. I don't understand how that place isn't on like the who keeps the terrorist group list, the poverty Southern Poverty Law Group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have the Daily Wire on that list with the way that they're libs of TikTok. That's
Yeah,
that's
Lives
what
of
the
TikTok
danger
was
is.
quick. Yeah, they're actually quickly on a lot of hate lists.
It's stochastic terrorism is the name of the game against the queer community, and
Yeah.
this month is going to be brutal, guys. We
Yeah,
gotta
I've been
keep our
seeing
chins up.
a lot of pride, what do you call it? A lot of pride parades canceled,
Yeah.
protested. Like, holy shit, like Target. Like, what the hell?
They're
Yeah,
Um,
there's
boycotting Chick-fil-A just because they hired like
a
their,
diversity, yeah, director of diversity.
yeah,
yeah.
and they're still very conservative. Chick-fil-A is still more conservative than In-N-Out even.
Yeah.
And like it's just ridiculous. Both of them are Christian-owned companies that are generally In-N-Out's sort of a little more middle ground, but Chick-fil-A has been notoriously conservative, donating to focus on the family and stuff like that. And they're
Yeah, but
not conservative enough. If they are not conservative enough for you, what kind of fascist, crazy stuff are you into?
I'm
It's
really trying to
because
figure out
they're mad
what.
at
the
Chick-fil-A
reason
because Chick-fil-A just hired a diversity.
Yeah, that's
that's
what
what
we
I
were
was going to
saying.
say. They're trying to create diversity, so now everybody's mad at them. Like they're just
Yeah.
horrible. Somebody said on what was it,
Well,
Twitter? Was
it's,
go ahead.
yeah, a TPUSA, contributor learned Chick-fil-A has a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. Quote, Chick-fil-A, you are no longer the Lord's chicken. You're actually the woke chicken. And I'm really upset about it as a Christian woman. We're taking this boycott of Chick-fil-A thing seriously.
Oh,
That
that's
just
so
to me
And
made
I
me
gotta
laugh.
say, I will be the first woman to choke the Lord's chicken. Bring it along.
Bree, could you explain something to me? You used the term stochastic something or other. Could you explain that to me?
Stochastic terrorism.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Sorry,
just haven't
chewing.
heard that term.
Oh,
So
I
it's
have never
where
either.
using
I'm
a
I'm still dying over the Lord's chicken.
yeah,
The
using
Lord's